It's no surprise that I read this. I hate that I didn't do a separate review for this book, but it is Gemina by J. Kristoff and Amie Kaufman. Oh my goodness, you guys. Here we go. Now, first of all, again, cover. Gorgeous. Again, just so unique, so beautiful. Again, we have all the interesting illustrations and just the way this book is set up. It's just, again, Mary Lou, I think she did some drawings in here as well. They introduced some of her artwork into the book. All that's amazing, okay? Let's talk about that. All that is amazing. But I got nervous, you guys. I got real nervous because in the beginning, I was not feeling this book. I was like this whole drug dealing thing and drug addict stuff, like, I don't know, I was not into that life. Like, I was like, what is this about? But when we get to the scene where, you know, these people are being invaded and people start dying off and the death count starts going up, this book took off for me. I find, you know, I really enjoyed it. I don't want to tell you too much because I really don't know if you read Illuminate or not. But with Gemina, again, you probably, if you really, really wanted to, could read Gemina before you read Illuminate. Illuminate will feel a lot like a prequel, you know, and you should probably just read them in order. But if you were in the situation where you just had Gemina and you were still waiting on Illuminate, you could read this. You could. If you enjoy artificial intelligence, if you love science fiction, if you love action, if you love smart-ass, kick-ass characters, then you're gonna love both Illuminate and Gemina. Now, like I said, I did feel though Gemina was a little bit slower than Illuminate. Illuminate kicked off for me really quickly. This one didn't. But once we were in it, I was in it to win it. And then we had alternate realities and all that stuff, and the book was just wild. I will be continuing on with this series. They still got me. It is still one of my favorite series. Now, this next book, you guys, that I read, I knew I was gonna hate this book. I don't know why I even bought it. Like, I knew this book was gonna be ass cracking ball sack. And then I knew that the Biblio Squad was gonna be reading it. So I decided, I was like, man, I'm gonna read it. And of course I missed the live show because I miss everything. And but it is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. This was probably one of the more captivating reads that I read all winter, last half of the year. I love this book so much. Like, I really, really enjoyed this book more than I thought I would enjoy it. And it just blew my mind to no end. Now, this one I will say, I will direct you, you know, to my Goodreads posts or, you know, whatever down below so you can get more detail, like how much I gush over this book. This was not only character driven, it was story driven, and it was done so well, so beautifully, so masterfully that I was not bored for one moment. I thought this was a standalone novel. I got nervous. I was like, there's no way you're gonna be able to solve all these problems and issues in one book. And I'm so glad to find out that it's a series and another book is coming out, because now I'm dedicated to this series. Dedicated to this series. I challenge you to read this book. Don't read the synopsis. Just know there's magic involved. A duel to the death. And read the book. And I just would love to know what your thoughts are on it. Don't hype it in your head. Think it's going to be the worst book you've ever read. Okay? And don't read too much about what the book's about. Just go for it. Go for it. You just shut up and read the book. Next book, I don't own this one. I actually do plan on getting in this series as soon as I can, and that is Magnus Chase, The Sword of Summer. As you know, I love Rick. I love Rick Riordan. I will say that this series is maybe my least favorite of all of them so far. However, I didn't hate the story. I loved how it sweetly kind of tied in with the Percy Jackson series, because I thought Max Chase was his own world, but I'm starting to realize in Rick Riordan's books, no matter what series you're in, everyone is in the exact same world. And I love the Norse mythology, because I love Greek mythology and things like that, and learn about Roman mythology, but I've never went out of my way to learn about Norse mythology. It did spark my interest there, and I like that. I love the story, I love the adventures, I loved Magnus Chase, and I love the other characters and the Valkyries and stuff like that, but like there was like these two little sidekicks, and like there was just something about them that just didn't jive with me. Did enjoy it. I will be reading further on in the Magnus Chase world. Now this next book is really, really special to me because in real life, this book was disappointing in some ways, but also mesmerizing in a lot of ways. So that book is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This book had a beautiful cover, and this book was gifted to me by my friend Seth. Thank you. If you don't know, Heartless by Marissa Meyer is the story of how the Queen of Hearts became the villain that she is today in Alice in Wonderland. And I personally was excited about this because I love villain stories. I love all the baking. You guys, I baked so much after reading this book because I was so inspired by cooking and stuff like that from this book, and I love that. It's like you could taste everything when you read it. I loved Jess. I loved his character. I thought he was so sexy. I don't know what about him was sexy, but there was something sexy about him. Everybody is warm, but they still do what it is they want to do. What fell short for this book is that I thought I was gonna like the main character a little bit more than I did, and I didn't. And I had an expectation that the book brought about of being able to enter into a new world, and we didn't, and that was kind of sad. However, everything else in the book I really enjoyed. I thought it was very interesting. It's definitely reminiscent of Alice in Wonderland. She definitely stays true to that world, and I truly appreciate everything that happened in this book. I would actually recommend this book. Do I think it's going to be life-changing for you to read this book? Certainly not. But do I think this would be a nice, good book to, you know, drink some tea, eat some cookies with, and read? Certainly. It's definitely a nice little cuddle book. So this book was given to me, and it is The Darkest Minds by Alexander Bracken. I actually really enjoyed The Passenger, and I'm looking forward to going on with that book. I will be reading the next book, so I'm excited. But everyone says you gotta read The Darkest Minds. You gotta read The Darkest Minds. It's everything. Y'all, it was overhyped. It was overhyped. I struggled to read this book. I think the first half of the book was really interesting. The middle was unnecessary for me. And then the ending kind of picked up and got really, you know, interesting to me. And so the very, very end, I'm like, okay, I do kind of want to read further on. Which is great because I own the next book. And I've been upset if I hated this book so much that I didn't want to go further on. Darkest Minds wasn't horrible. It just wasn't everything that people made it out to be. If you don't know the story of Darkest Minds, this is a story of one day all the children start dying, except for a few. And these select few end up having special abilities, and they were put in concentration camps. So don't fall in love with none of these characters. Don't do it to yourself. Everyone is subjugated to die in this book, okay? So that's just something to know. Don't like nobody, okay? Because they won't be around long. Good people come in and out of your life every day. Good characters are going to come in and out of your stories every day. So I appreciated that. Again, I will be, even though it was a little bit of a disappointment because it was a little bit slower than I would have preferred it to be, I will be going further on with it because I really love the ending. That's it, you guys. We're done. So that's my 2016 wrap up of just novels. Again, like I said, I will be talking about some comics and mangas and graphic novels that I read and a two other monster. But I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you've read any of these books, I'd love to know what you thought of them. If you're interested in reading these books and you have any questions about them, feel free to ask me down below. As always, I love you and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!